Hey guys, Shahan here with Brawl Brothers, and before we get into this fun video, just want to shoot a couple things your guys' way. First of all, the book, The Art of the Sweet Science, that I personally wrote is live on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Check it out. The Art of the Sweet Science, boxing training for the body and mind. And also, don't forget to check out the website, guys. This t-shirt, that poster, and a ton of other stuff is available on the website, so check that out down in the description below, brawlbrothers.com/shop. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the video. In this video, we're going to have a little fun. I'm going to be looking at some boxing tips on social media and giving my thoughts on them. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to say, guys, and I always say this, not all boxing coaches agree on everything, right? Some of these guys you see are going to be boxing coaches. Some of these guys you see are going to be fighters and probably successful ones, right? I don't know a lot of these people that we're going to see. But not everybody has to agree in boxing, right? I talk about fundamentalists a lot on this channel. People that do a little bit of basics and then think everybody has to follow the basics. That's not always the case. And some of these people I criticize may be great fighters. They may be great coaches. It just may mean that we don't necessarily agree on the training methods that they are doing. So that being said, let's dive into this video and let's react to some of these social media boxing training tips. So I'm just going to pull out my phone and we're going to dive right into it. Alright, so we got a guy balancing on a tire while using the spar bar. So this is actually really great. This is a great drill to do because if you ever find yourself in the middle of a fight and somehow you get stuck on top of a tire, whether it's on the street or in the ring, if somebody sets you up with a tire that you for some reason can't get off of, this is a great drill to do, right? It'll help you learn to balance on a tire and fight somebody while standing on top of one. Otherwise, other than looking cool, this is not gonna do much for you. You want to get good at balance, do your jump roping, do your running, do your footwork drills, right? You want to improve in a boxing situation, right? On flat ground. You don't want to necessarily be on top of a tire. I'm gonna give this one a pass, right? I personally would never advise my students to do something like this. It's a waste of time. When it comes to anything you do, there's opportunity costs, right? Especially in boxing. Yeah, you can do this drill, but there's so many other things that you can do that can help you improve, right? You got to think about opportunity cost constantly. Is the way you're spending your time now the best way to be spending your time? And you especially have to think that way when you're in training, because not only are you limited on time, but you're limited on energy. All right, so let's dive into the next one. Alright, so here he's talking about the bad habit of flaring when you're throwing the opposite hand. It is a bad habit, you should avoid it because you can get cracked with a body shot. And he's basically saying put a glove underneath the other hand that you're not throwing with to force yourself to keep that elbow tucked. Good advice. Great advice, go follow this guy. Right, definitely great advice. I would say 100%. A lot of beginners have a bad habit of flaring those elbows out when they're throwing shots, right? And that's a good counter for a left hook uppercut, or left uppercut, or left hook to the body, right? So, great tip. You know, it'll help force you to build a habit of keeping your hand tucked and show you how it feels, right? How it feels to throw a nice controlled punch without necessarily flaring those elbows out. So let's dive into this next one. This is gonna be a hand speed tip.
Yo, we back with another big,
so he's kind of talking us through it. Let's move past this a little bit, all right?
Dumbbells, they 8 pounds. Supposed to use lighter,
yeah, so he says it himself, right? 8 pounds is way too much. Way too much. Can holding weights increase your hand speed? Yes, it can, but watch this. This is why you don't want to do this.
2, 3.
You see that? He's not actually throwing punches, right? He's not going to build those fast twitch muscles because he's not actually throwing punches. Those weights are too heavy to throw punches. You either throw your elbow out or your shoulder out if you throw a punch at full velocity with this. And it builds a bad habit of not throwing with full velocity. And when you get tired, it's going to build a bad habit of dropping your hands and really just throwing with bad form. If you're going to do weights, then go with light weights and throw to your full potential. Do a weight that you can use, that you can still throw through your with your full potential with, right? And I always recommend, if you want to increase hand speed, just shadow box with boxing gloves on. Grab 16 to 18 ounce gloves and shadow box with boxing gloves on. You don't need weights. Gloves are way better because they stay on your hands and you'll get used to missing those shots, right? And you'll increase your hand speed as long as you throw to the best of your ability every time. Remember, You got to throw as fast as you can each time and then go faster than that next time, right? Each time, just build up the speed that way. Build those muscles, build those mental connections to throw fast punches. Make it a habit. In this case, not a bad tip, but bad execution, right? Bad execution. You don't want to use heavy weights, and you've seen it. The way he was throwing those punches, not the way to go. All right, so for this next one, we got Oscar De La Hoya.
At impact, when you're going to get ready to throw that punch, in your mind, you're thinking, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it. When it's halfway here, you close it. The reason why we keep it open is because the punch, when it's relaxed, it comes much faster. If you're so tense and you want to throw it so strong, the punch, you can see it in your face. First of all, your opponent can see it in your face. And the punch
100%.
comes harder, but slower.
Better. It's going to land faster. It's going to land harder, right? And most importantly, if you're constantly tensed with your knuckles inside the glove, you're going to wear yourself out. Your arms are going to get tired. There's no reason to do that. Your arms should stay relaxed until the point of impact, right? Always, always keep your arms relaxed. And the way to practice this is practice noodle arms, right? Practice just throwing noodle arms all the time, and then eventually learn how to close that fist the closer you get to impact, right? 100% good tip. I mean, it's Oscar De La Hoya, right? It wasn't going to be a bad tip. Next, we got a TikTok fella that's going to give us some advice on how to throw a right hook, right? So let's get into
Today I'm going to be showing you how to throw the right hook. All right, before I show y'all the right way, we got to start off with the wrong way. Don't do it like this.
Definitely not a good hook.
Alright, that's not how you do it. That's how you're gonna get fucked up in a street fight. I'm gonna show you the right way. It's called the right hook, but that's not all we working. I want you to watch my torso, knees, and my ankles, and watch where I'm generating all that power from when I strike. Post up with them, get in your stance right.
Stance. Okay. Good power, right? He knocked the bag down. He's got good power. But you're not going to get away with that in the fight. You're not going to get away with cocking your fist back and then landing into the bag like that, right? You're not going to get away with that. And my intuition is, and I could be wrong about this guy. I don't know anything about him. I haven't done any research on him or anything. But my guess is he knows how to fight. He obviously knows how to fight. If he cracks somebody on the street with that, they're going lights out. But I don't think he does a lot of sparring, especially not against guys who are seasoned. Right, because the first thing you learn in boxing is as soon as you get into that ring and you fight somebody who's sharp, these guys are popping sharp, tight shots, right? So if you go like this on a guy, he might not even wait to counter that telegraph shot. He'll just, boom, smack you right in the middle of it, right? So you got to be careful with cocking back that way. Sure, you want to practice power, but you got to practice power in the context of a real fight scenario. So you don't want to cock back, right? You want to make sure you're getting power, boom, without telegraphing. Right? If you want to develop power, you don't develop power by swinging wide shots. You develop power from within the constraints of staying within your stance, from staying protected, right? Staying in what we call on this channel checkpoint, right? You always want to be in checkpoint, right? So if you're going to develop your power, make sure you're doing so while following the fundamentals, right? While following the rules, while making sure that you're staying tight, you're staying neat, you're staying sharp, and develop power from there. Right? You don't want to generate power that you can't use in a fight. There's no reason to do that. So make sure you're generating power and you're practicing power that you can actually use and, most importantly, land in the fight, right? The punch that hurts is the punch that lands. That being said, let's keep this party going. Alright, guys. I mean, what is there to say about this? Don't do this. Don't do this at home, especially if you're a beginner. Don't do it. It's not going to help you get better, really. I mean, it's not going to teach you how to fight blind, right? If that's what it looks like, it's not. The guy probably learned the rhythms of the kettlebell, right? He knows exactly the timing of it. He's been working on this a lot. And honestly, you don't need a kettlebell to work on your head movement. Sure, the threat is nice, but it actually helps mess up your focus. Just put up a water bottle, right? Something that makes you pay the price, but not a big enough price that the whole workout is over if you mess up, right? You want to leave room for mistakes because this is practice, right? So I don't recommend doing this. I like the exercise itself, right? Head movement is important to work. Having that swivel bag is great, right? Mike Tyson used to do it all the time, but not like this and not blindfolded. Waste of time. This next one's going to be for those people who flare their elbows when they throw their shots, right? So basically what they're recommending is you go against the wall and you throw your straight shots that way, right? That way you can, you can make sure that you're not flaring that elbow. I like this tip for beginners who make that mistake, but I don't necessarily want you as my student to continue doing that, because I don't want you to be in the habit of just throwing shots so perfectly straight. Imagine taking a Muhammad Ali or Jermaine Taylor, right, some of the best jabbers in boxing history. If you have them do that, you're going to ruin their jab. You're going to ruin their jab. They got a lot of their torque just coming from here, right? And they weren't telegraphing because their hands kind of already out here, right? You see their elbows already kind of out here, and they just flick that jab, right? So I wouldn't want to ruin my students' punches if they have a good style and they're not telegraphing, but they flick their jab with their elbow a little flared out, right? And you watch some of these guys. A lot of these guys get more torque on their punches, right? Just being able to come out a little bit, right? Maybe they bring more of their lat into it, right? So you don't want to necessarily stand against the wall and shoot a punch that straight, right? I'm not necessarily okay with it. You're going to sacrifice a lot of power, right? You got to know when to and when not to do things, and that comes with being seasoned. So it's okay for the beginner to practice for a little bit just to get the hang of not flaring too much, because this is bad, right? But when you wanna come in like this, right? You want to stay sharp. Sometimes maybe you want to flick that jab. Sometimes maybe you want to come with an overhand. That's okay. And this drill, if done for too long, may build you in the habit of taking a lot of power and staying away from your shot. So I'm in the middle on that. You know, do sometimes, but not always. Next tip's coming from Glenn Johnson. Let's watch that again. Yeah, so if you guys don't know who Glenn Johnson is, he's most popular for knocking out Roy Jones right after Antonio Tarver did it. Now, you guys know how I feel about Roy Jones, one of my favorite fighters. In his prime, nobody's messing with him, but you got to be good even to beat a post his prime Roy Jones Jr. Right? Glenn Johnson actually sparred with one of the guys I used to train with, and he told me this guy's super crafty. And you can see here, he is super crafty, right? He's not talking about something that a guy who only knows the basics will teach you, but basically he's saying bait, right? Bait people into coming in, trying to get you to counter over the top, right? Bait them, and then block with your elbow, right? Throw that arm up, and then boom, 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 come in on the inside, right? Especially if you're fighting a taller guy. You bait him to try to shoot over the top, boom, right? An unorthodox style of defense, right? You're not going to learn that from fundamentalists, right? You're not going to learn that from fundamentalists, but these are the things crafty fighters learn, right? If nobody knew who he was and he put that up on a typical Instagram page, they might even shit on him, right? Because they don't know any better. But when you fight, you learn to do what works, not just what the basics are. Remember, you got to know what the rules are before you break them, but once you know, you kind of got to step out of lines a little bit and improve yourself as a fighter. This next one's a footwork drill, and I like it. Honestly, this is something I like. It's right up there with jump roping for me. It's going to help you with your foot agility, and you need foot agility in boxing. I would mix this in with actual boxing footwork drills, right? Being in your boxing stance and boom, 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 cutting angles, right? That's important. But this will help you. This will help you. I like this drill a lot, right? You can do this with tape. You can do tape on your garage floor and work on this. This will help you speed up your footwork. Next, we got a guy shadow boxing underwater. I'm not sure who he is. Maybe he's a pro, maybe he's an amateur, maybe he's just a guy training boxing. But yes, do this, guys. Shadow box underwater. If you have a pool, if you have a body of water, you don't have to necessarily go your head underwater. You can breathe outside of the water, throw the punches underneath. Good for you. It'll help you with your hand speed, right? Beautiful exercise. And swimming. If you guys don't swim, swim. Swim is great for conditioning your entire body, your lungs, your muscles, everything, right? So swim, shadow box underwater, good tip. All right, let's jump into the last tip here.
So when you're in your guard, I know you're not going to throw, so that's why people are just getting off, because we know that you're not going to throw, and it's body language, right? Look at the difference here when I'm in my guard, go. And now look at my guard now, go. I can throw off of that. And the person knows from my body language when I'm in my guard, they know I might throw. Right now, when you're in your guard, go ahead.
Yeah, good tip. You don't want to be too lax, right, with your guard. You don't want to get your feet tied up and be lazy when you're going back. You want to stay tight in the guard and most importantly, mentally aware, right? You want to be mentally aware.
Kind of roll with the punches. Load your feet with your guard. So when you're throwing at me in my guard, I'm loading my feet. So that all of a sudden I can come up. So sit, go in your guard. Yeah, throw off those. Yes, exactly. Right? Your defense is too passive. Find that. Don't be passive in your guard. Try to find that.
Yeah, great tip. The only thing I would say is sometimes that whole lackadaisical approach is great if you're playing possum. Right? Because like he said, the other guy knows you can't throw off of it. But if he knows something that's false, he's in danger. Right? He might start making mistakes. If he sees you kind of being lax and walking back, right, and it looks like you're not defending yourself, and they just start opening up, that could be a good way for you to trick them, boom, into a check hook, boom, trick them into an overhand, right? But you have to know how to set your feet in split second, right, which is tough to do. So for most people, that advice is great, but once you start getting to be a more experienced fighter, you know you got to start playing tricks in there, right? You got to start doing bluffs in there, right? Even when you're not hurt, pretend to be hurt, and then catch the guy over committing, right? So you can use it as almost a bait to set up shots, right? So you could play the reverse Uno card on people, right? But for most people, they do make the mistake of they're not playing possum, they're just making a mistake of being lax, right? And not only leaning back and being off balance and getting their feet tied up, but really not being able to do anything. They're not mentally sharp, they're not physically sharp, right? If somebody's coming at you, sometimes what you could do is, instead of even walking back, you smother their shots. You bring that guard up, you smother their shots, and you shoot those shots on the inside, you counter back, right? You got all that leverage in your feet. You don't want to just start walking back, right? Straight back, flat-footed. Like he said, you're not going to be able to counter. So what you want to do is you want to stay in checkpoint all the time. Boom. Have that guard tight. Have your mind sharp and focused and paying attention. Never block your own vision, right? You're always looking through the window. And if somebody's coming at you with aggression, smother them. Walk into those shots. Smother those shots and shoot shots of your own. Great tip. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a little different than most videos that we do on this channel, but I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on some of the things that we see on social media. Remember, it's tough to tell what's good advice and what's not good advice when just scrolling through social media, because we don't know who is who, right? And even from some of the videos I watch, I don't know most of these people, so I can only judge them on the advice that they give. And in some cases, just because we disagree doesn't mean they are wrong, right? It very well could be effective. What I encourage you guys to do is experiment. Try different things. That's what the gym is for. Try different things and then actually see if you're improving on whatever that thing's supposed to improve, right? If something's supposed to increase your punching power, try it. And if it doesn't increase your punching power, dump it for something else, right? Try different things and experiment and always trust your coach, guys. If you have a coach, trust your coach, listen to your coach. That doesn't mean you shouldn't learn other things elsewhere, but definitely listen to your coach, respect your coach, and really just try to master boxing, right? Consume the information outside, bring it to your coach, practice it together, right? And if you're doing this by yourself, do the same thing. Just practice, record yourself, right? And track your progress. Every time you try something new, see if you're actually improving while doing it. And if you guys have any other videos that you want to send me, that you want to critique, that you want my thoughts on, right? Send it to me on my Instagram, Brawlbros 2.0, in the description, right? Just send me a message. Shoot me a couple videos. Shoot me some of your training footage, right? If you guys want me to do a video just critiquing you guys and your training methods and or your sparring sessions, shoot me some videos and we'll do a video on that. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit all those YouTube buttons that'll help this channel blow. And don't forget to grab the book. The link is in the description. The Art of the Sweet Science is now live on Amazon, a book that I personally wrote. So if you guys like this content, you'll love the book. Go check that out. Other than that, I'm Shahan with Brawl Brothers, and I'll brawl with you guys next time.